just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome. There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, with minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time will somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the farce revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. This is where the magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts, close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens, feeling all the hearts ignited now in you and me. The secret is wherever. The secret is whenever. The secret is together we are.
Good morning and welcome to our June 15th online service. So welcome. We have, let's see, there we go, our practice. We have Arise. This is a practice that we utilize in order to get us centered and to remind us of the beauty of what's going on in our community, our personal community, our CSL community, as well as the world. So Arise is A for awareness, being aware of where we're at and what's happening inside of us. Radical responsibility, inside out focus. Spirit is all there is, and everyone is doing the best they can with what they have and where they're at, and so am I. It's a very powerful practice. I encourage you to use it. Our vision at CSL St. George is a community-focused center actively living, sharing, and nurturing its members and its friends so that all may live their best life. Our mission at CSL St. George is an open, inclusive, and evolving spiritual community that supports its purpose and vision through sacred wisdom celebrations like today, empowering transformational education, youth and young adult programs, dynamic music ministry, community inreach, as well as community outreach. Today we have a great team here to be of service. We have Bill as our tech. So we're very grateful for him to be here. Obviously, I am Rachel Dilling, Reverend Rachel Dilling, who is doing the hosting as well as the invocation today. We have our amazing Alan, who's doing our music. Marina, who is also part of our core council, will be doing the reading. And then, of course, we anticipate our talk from Reverend Joe Kovach. And so now I'd like to introduce you our wonderful musician. Hi, Alan.
Hi, Rachel. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. I look forward to hearing you sing today.
Amazing. Well, hello, everybody. We're having a great day here, and I know you are too, wherever you're at, whatever time you're at. So we're going to start off kind of slow with a Daniel Nahmot song, Get Ready. Help us get ready. And then we'll break in the middle of it and of the invocation. Reverend Rachel will come back and do the invocation. Then we'll finish singing the song. So just sit back and relax. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost and won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul.
So if you'll take a deep breath with me and release, grounding in this moment right here and right now. I know that right here and right now, there is only one thing happening, one thing going on, and that is the life and light of love and God. the spirit, the one, the whole, knowing that there is only one thing, the one mind, the one, the love, the life, the light, the truth, that God is all. God is the laughing child. God is the sun and the moon. God is all the energy that flows in and of and through all things. And as I know this to be the truth, I know that I am of and from and in and as this universal energy, as is everyone that can hear my voice right here and right now. So knowing that I am all that is, I declare right here and right now that there are blessings happening in this very moment, that we come together to create this particular moment in time, this sacred moment, this blessed moment, this truth of moment, knowing that here at this co-creation, there is only beauty and love and light. That through the knowingness that there is never too late or never too soon to be in the wholeness of the universal energy of God. So in such gratitude, blessing all that volunteer to assist in creating this moment, all those that are watching, and wonderful Reverend Joe and his wisdom that he shares with us, I am grateful. And in such appreciation, I release my word to the law, knowing it is done, done, done. And together we affirm by saying, and so it is. So it is. So it is.
So it is. Thank you, Reverend Rachel. Thank you.
Well,
here I go. Deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been. Here I go. Closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go. Deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever seen before. Here I go. Closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul. Now we're going to bring Marina in. Here she is. Hello, Marina.
All right, Alan. I was singing along with you. I don't know if you heard me or not.
I appreciate it. I need it.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so honored to be here today to do a little bit of reading as part of our celebration. Not only as part of Pride Month, which I love celebrating the LGBTQ community and recognizing their place amongst all of us. But also, and in addition to that, this week we celebrate Juneteenth, which is a celebration of really the end of the war against slavery, 2 years after the signing of the 13th Amendment, when the U.S. Army finally made it to Texas to let the troops know that it was over and that the law was signed. So it's a huge celebration. I'm really glad it has become a big focal celebration. And in conjunction with that, then in doing the reading, I wanted to use my my passion for engagement and conversation around biases and awareness and accountability and social justice. I'm really honored to speak in this theme. My passion really started only 5 years ago, and I felt some shame at the time that it took me 65 years to really engage and create awareness and educate myself around social justice issues. But in tandem with our theme for today, it's never too late and it's never too soon. It's never too late to see, to hear, to grow, and to heal. And it's never too soon to hear others' stories, to see the divine in humans and humanity, to be and to act from that divine humanity. So super happy to be here. But the challenge for me was, oh my gosh, what reading do I choose? I have engaged in so many great books and teachings and et cetera, in my last 5 years of engagement in conversation. And several are by Black authors. So I decided to kind of focus on that. The first one I really did was The Black Friend by Frederick Joseph, which I highly recommend. It's a very easy, friendly, investigative book. I loved that Frederick kept sending me to, go listen to this song or go investigate this person. It was like a conversation with him. I really appreciated my experience with that. Recently, I read Resma Menachem book, My Grandmother's Hands. And not only is he is a mixed race Black man, his grandmother was a freed slave, so he has quite a story to tell there. And his focus is about somatic healing, that he talks about how important it is for us to have conversations and to learn and to grow intellectually and spiritually and emotionally, all those things. And his big focus is on somatic healing, and that in order to really heal the wounds of all of our ancestors, the trauma that's happened in the whole history of human beings lives in our bodies. And in order to really heal that, we need to settle our bodies and together harmonize our bodies through meditation, through humming, through singing together, through drumming together and playing flutes and dancing and just really engaging our bodies in the healing process. I loved that book. Highly recommend it. My Grandmother's Hands. And then recently, I also started to read the book Caste by Isabel Wilkerson, and I saw the film of her story of how she came to write the book. And the film is called Origin, and you can see it on Prime. It stars Anjanou Elise Taylor. Amazing, amazing, amazing film and book. So I highly recommend those. But I chose for today to do a little bit of a reading from this book, Stained Glass Spirit, Becoming a Spiritual Community Where Oneness Does Not Require Sameness. And the super cool thing about this book for our community is this is written by Reverend Dr. Tracy Brown. She is a Black woman. She is a minister in the CSL movement. And I've actually had the privilege of meeting her and participating in a workshop at a conference in California back in 2021. She is an amazing human being. I believe she's a part of the Dallas-Fort Worth, or at least Dallas CSL. Big time involvement in diversity and inclusion teaching and workshops and stuff. So I'd really like to read a couple of snippets from this book. It's I highly recommend it. Again, the title is Stained Glass Spirit. So have you ever been in a deep conversation about diversity only to find out after 20 minutes that you and the person you were talking with were using the same words but applying completely different meanings to those words? That happens often when discussing diversity and inclusion. In order to explore this topic, it's important we have a common foundation. So let's begin with 3 definitions. Whether you agree with the definitions or not, it doesn't matter. But at least it's a starting place. So the 3 definitions are: diversity is the existence of differences. It includes all the ways we are different from one another. Every person contributes to the diversity of a group or community. Diversity exists, and it is neither bad nor good. Inclusion is the environment or culture we create when we recognize, honor, and utilize the diversity within a given group. Inclusion is not automatic. It requires deliberate intention and consistent action. Oneness is the relationship between the creator of all life and everything it creates. In the context of humanity, each human being is a unique expression of this one source and cannot be separated from it. Oneness, then, is the natural relationship between God and each human. It does not describe the relationship between 2 human beings. So she goes on to tell a little story, which I found to be profound, about a question that was asked at one of her workshops. I facilitated a large workshop with several dozen people attending. At the end of a small group activity, we were sharing highlights and discussing the challenges as a large group. One participant asked, "Why is diversity such a big problem? This is exhausting." The room got quiet. Like so quiet, it feels as if every person in the room is holding their breath. It felt inappropriate to reply with a brilliant quote from a social science, psychology, or leadership expert. It felt inauthentic to brush the question off as if it were unimportant or disruptive. It felt as if this participant was asking a question that almost everyone in the room wanted to ask, but either didn't know how or didn't believe it was acceptable. I took a deep breath, not knowing exactly what words were about to come out of my mouth, and then spoke quietly but firmly. Diversity is not the problem. It is the stories we tell ourselves about diversity that are the problem. So we are correct when we say we are all humans, but we are not all the same. The challenge isn't that we are biologically different. The challenge is that we have created and continue to perpetuate false and negative stories about what differences mean. The desire, the commitment to build stained glass spiritual communities requires us to tell a different story about ourselves, about other people, and about the world we want to live in. So let's change the narrative. Let's tell some different stories, all about the way that we are different from each other. Let's flip the script and make diversity a positive instead of a negative. Will you join me? I love her ending with that invitation. Will you join me? Will you join me in the journey to learn more? I want to leave you with a little bit of the lyrics from a song that I just really love, and it's Sarah Bareilles' song, Brave. And I encourage you to go to YouTube and listen to it. But instead of her version, I encourage you to listen to the version by One World Children's Choir. There's something about those young voices milling around together and speaking and singing these wise words. Say what you want to say. Show me how big your brave is. I want to see you be brave. Let your words fall out honestly. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.
Namaste, Marina. Great subject. Well presented. That was great. I'll be looking that song up here in a couple hours. So we're going to sing together and pick it up. Another Karen Drucker song, I've Got the Power. I've got the power to make all my dreams come true. I've got the power, there ain't nothing I can't do. I've got the power to be anything I want. I've got the power inside of me. I've got the power inside of me. Every day I spend my time thinking that someone's gonna do it all for me. I've got to get up, get out, just get started. Take one step toward my destiny. I'll define my direction, declare my intention, declare what I'll be, and watch it come to me. Because I got the power to make all my dreams come true. I've got the power, there ain't nothing I can't do. I've got the power to be anything I want. I've got the power inside of me. I've got the power inside of me. There are days when I just feel no good. Days when I don't even want to try. But when I stop, look, and surrender, I hear a voice of truth I can't deny. It says, you know what, you can do it. Just get down to it. Have faith in yourself and the will to see it true. Because you know, I got the power to make all my dreams come true. I've got the power, there ain't nothing I can't do. I've got the power to be anything I want. I've got the power inside of me. I've got the power inside of me. In those times when I feel frightened and it seems like I just can't go on, I've got to look deep inside, because that's the answer. The power, the power, the power inside of me. I've got the power to make all my dreams come true. I've got the power, there ain't nothing I can't do. I've got the power to be anything I want. I've got the power inside of me. I've got the power inside of me. I've got the power inside of me.
Yay! Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So now we're on to the meat of the meeting. So this year we're rising higher and growing deeper. This month specifically is about living in color, or living color. And so right now we're going to hear our wonderful senior minister talk to us about it's never too late and it's never too soon. And so Reverend Joe Kovach.
Good morning, Reverend Rachel.
You have the light, yes.
Well, you have the light too, but thank you. Oh, thank you. What a great service so far. And thank you to everybody who's participating, Reverend Rachel and Bill and Marina and Alan. We are just a terrific team.
Yes.
All right. So as Reverend Rachel said and reminded us so beautifully, this month's theme is In Living Color. And we've been talking about that all week. You're going to share spotlight? Oh, you took her away. But thank you, Bill. She's bringing her back. Hey, we got to do that together once. Thanks, Bill. We have fun here. I love it. So let's get right into it. This week's talk is called It's Never Too Late and Never Too Soon. And following in again, this idea of in living color and talking about the idea. Well, let's talk. Why do we join our spiritual community? Think about that for a moment, right? One of the reasons that people mention is we focus on the affirmation of life. We are affirming all the positive aspects of life and not giving power to the circumstances in which we find ourselves in, and that we practice our philosophy, and that is a big part of it. And one of our spiritual practices, or all of our spiritual practices, are there to assist us in reminding us that the ever-present source of the universe, Spirit, God, call it what you will, is always present. It is the only power there is. Ernest Holmes calls it first cause. In other words, if there's something happening, it is because of God itself. And so this week, we're once again reminded to take a look at our mindset and how our current mindset may be limiting us from experiencing the fullness of life, or more profoundness in our life. And regardless of whether feel like we're struggling or we feel like it can't get any better, guess what? This life is infinite. And there's always more to experience. So therefore, because there's only one power and we are that power, then it's never too late, or it's to start, or never too soon to start. Start what? Start to begin to embracing our spiritual magnificence. So in the words of Ernest Holmes, he says, undoubtedly, we are surrounded by and immersed in a perfect life, a complete, normal, happy, sane, harmonious, and peaceful existence. But only as much of this life as we embody will really become ours to use. Now, I know I've used this before this month, and so that means it's a powerful quote, because this idea, this mindset that he's talking about, he's not just stating a fact, but he's really giving us the path. That the more we choose to be immersed in and come from this idea that life is already perfect because it comes from a perfect source, then our normalness can be not just happy, it could be joy, it could be balance, it could be harmony, it could be, because these are all the things that life source starts out as, reminding ourselves that we're here having this thing called a human experience. So again, it's never too late to recognize your spiritual magnificence and to embody the qualities of spirit itself. I mentioned the word circumstance, and I want to remind metaphysically, when we talk about the word circumstance, that circumference, and stance. So it is the circle that we find ourselves standing in. In other words, our present place of beingness and doingness. And if we're not happy with any part of that, we recognize that we're able to change our relationship to what is going on. That's kind of what part of Marina's reading was about. Changing our relationship to how we hear certain words, even like diversity or inclusivity. Now, she stole a little thunder as well. I wanted to bring up Juneteenth, partly because it's happening this month, and partly because I wanted to learn a little bit more about it myself. And so I'm going to read you a little bit of what I found from the internet. And I'm going to paraphrase. So it was during the Civil War, and the Emancipation Proclamation was issued by President Abraham Lincoln. That happened on January 1st, 1863, which declared in the Confederate States that he was running that all enslaved people were free. And this was important on a number of levels. One of the reasons is because many of the blacks have chose to already be fighting for their freedom, even though they were still technically enslaved. Okay, so talk about a powerful mindset there. They literally, made it happen. And yet, as Marina also shared, that even though this was proclaimed in 1863, some states, while they continued to fight, kind of ignored it. And it was until 2.5 years later, on June 19th, 1865, that Galveston, Texas was the last state and city and had to be, I would say, specifically told. And this is so there was a General Gordon, let me look at my notes, Granger, who came and it says and issued General Order Number 3, proclaiming that all enslaved people in Texas were free. Specifically, and these words are important to me, he says the people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the executive of the United States, all slaves are free. Then it says this involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves. So it wasn't just you're free and we're going to be kind of vague about it. He gave them that blanket, no, you are free as anyone else is. And at the time, there was estimated over 250,000 enslaved people at that time. So think about consciously and energy, the amount of energetic shift when all those people, I don't like to say the word earn their freedom because they were already free, but in the eyes of our country, were given the freedom or honored with the freedom that they were imbued in given to by God, right? And so Juneteenth became a blend of the fact that it happened in June and June 19th. So in honor of that idea of that the enslaved continue to focus in their mindset on one day we'll be free, okay, they continue to feed that vision, that dream, that, as we would call it in CSL, that mental equivalent, right? There's only one mind. Our mind is the mind of God that we are using to the level of our ability, and they continue to put in seeing and experiencing freedom, and therefore it happened. And so, Juneteenth wasn't just a historical event, but the manifestation of divine truth that every human being, every being, period, is endowed with the right to be free. And while we celebrate the freedom of our ancestors, right? Again, despite great odds of obviously being chained, bound, beaten, and so many other atrocities, they continued to keep their hope and spirits unbound, unshackled, and their faith in front of them. And it serves as an excellent reminder that persistence, discipline, and practice and belief in a power greater than we are is why it's the foundation of our teaching. Now, while I was looking this up, I was shocked to learn the fact, according to many sources, I'm going to quote the World Economic Forum, that slavery is legal in 94 countries on our planet in this moment. And specifically that a person cannot be persecuted for enslaving another human being. So there's work yet to be done. When one of us is enslaved, we're all enslaved because there's only one life being lived. But let us remember that this freedom, this idea of freedom, it's not a destination, right? It is a journey of consciousness. It is a journey that we are on each and every day, each and every moment, whether it's personally, but of course, and collectively. Again, reminding ourselves, it's never too late. It's never too soon to become aware, to become radically responsible, to align ourselves with the highest and the best that we can embody with gratitude, right? Every act of kindness, every opportunity that you take to show that there is love in the world, that to express a greater love in the world, to express justice. We talked about in the former weeks, being an advocate for ourselves and for others. Every time we make these choices, we are expressing our truth and our spiritual magnificence. And we can do this I haven't done it, I can do better, I can be better. Now is the best time. And now, of course, there's barriers that we talk about all the time. And while we can talk about specifics, let's just let's focus on what we want, right? What we want is a greater sense of oneness in our communities, a greater sense of wholeness, of unity within our communities. And while we do honor Juneteenth as an example of that, there are many opportunities to liberate ourselves first and our communities to that greater sense of understanding, spirit that is already being expressed, but we haven't quite tapped into the fullness of it yet. So it's never too late to acknowledge the struggles, to be honest with ourselves. That's part of what Marina was talking about, to recognize maybe where, I'm going to use the words fall short, but where we can adjust our mindset. Okay. We don't have to do this with shame or guilt, but celebration. Because when you recognize a limiting belief or thought, you are not only freeing yourself, but you're freeing others. Because if I feel myself bound in a way, then I can only see you through that shackledness, through that limitation. And that's why this work is so important. By choosing to go within and recognize, oh, yeah, I didn't even realize that. Well, we're not going to realize it until we feel safe to do so. And our community is a place where we talk about this all the time, where we practice it, where we honor it, and we assist in helping others to be a better expression. We do this through prayer. We do this for meditation, contemplation, and education. Right? And that we're big on education because that's how we grow. That's how we are willing to sit there and hear something new and embody it for ourselves personally, for yourself personally. You're going to get it where you get it, and that is perfect. Let's continue to grow together. That's my invitation. Now, individually, the barriers inside and collectively, I guess this works for both. I have a number of our principles that Eris Holmes created. And these are, we don't really have dogma, but for people who are not sure who we are and what we believe, I've pulled some of the staples of our faith and to help us recognize why it's never too late or it's never too soon. So the first one I want to share with you, oh, I forgot I had that slide honoring Juneteenth. So thank you, Bill. Continuing on there. All right. So the first one is, we believe that the kingdom of heaven is within us and that we experience this kingdom to the degree that we become conscious of it. So very similar to the first quote that I shared. And the reason I wanted to share this is to restate, we can only give others what we have for ourselves. If you're asking me for a bushel of apples and all I have are oranges, I can't give you apples. Now, that's physical. What about consciously? Okay. If you're asking for honesty, I can only give you honesty to the level that I am honest with myself. If I'm asking you for love because we're in a relationship, let's say of intimacy, or even best friends, love and trust, I can only give you what I have given myself. And this is why it's so important to do our individual work. Now, we're all operating together, but when we overcome limitations, we have the first aha moment for ourselves. And then what that does is let in more love, in essence, I'm going to say, from the outside, because then we recognize a greater array of color and aspects of God that are already there that we couldn't see until we rose our vibration high enough to see them. And so we believe that kingdom of heaven, what is that? It's a biblical term that represents the idea that we are recognizing the divine, our divine selves. As Jesus said, the Father and I are one. So what he was saying in terms that they could understand then that what you are praying to, you are. Okay, the next principle I want to focus on is, it says, we believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. And this may be where we hold ourselves in slavery, mental slavery, the most. We do not see ourselves as divine. And then what happens is, going back to circumstances, we give our divine power away to the circumstances and give our circumstances power over us. So we are literally binding ourselves within our own ignorance and our own limitations. Now, we're not doing this because we're trying to punish ourselves, and maybe we do sometimes, but it's just something that we're not aware of. And so again, for me to say, yes, you are the divine in physical form, it took me years to really grasp that. And I'm still each and every day opening to a new awareness and understanding of that. But the unity of all life, right? We're not talking about just people, all life, everything happening is a unity of one whole. Let's call it spirit, call it presence, call it love. That is why we're here, to experience the greatest amount of spirit that we can in this place called life with others. Next is we believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. Now, to me, this is the invitation to let you know, to let me know that, hey, going back to the E and arise, we're doing the best we can with what we have and where we're at. That God can only show up uniquely to and through us. It's not going to show up the same way in someone else. And even if it appears to do that, they're receiving it through their own mental programming and beliefs and awarenesses and so on. And so are you. So just like we can both go, or we can all go to a movie, we're all watching the same movie, but we're all having a different experience of it. And then again, that is the other reason why we're all here doing it uniquely, so that we can share our unique perspective of love, our unique experiences of joy, our unique knowingness of spiritual truth, right? So you will learn in the perfect way that you can learn. Infinite intelligence is a word that we give God as well. So God already knows the best perfect way to assist you in me in raising our awareness. Our job, if you will, our responsibility is to be open to and allow it. Now, allow what? The next principle lets us know. And it says we believe in the direct revelation of truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature of each person, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. So, again, why is it never too late or never too soon? It's right here. We don't really have to go anywhere. It's just that the last part with the indwelling God, we have that personal connection, personal relationship to it. I can't get to it through you. You can fill me full of your facts and knowledges, and I can hear your experience, but we each have to experience the divine for ourselves. And we could do that anytime. And here's the best part, is that every time we choose to do that, it's a different experience. Right? That continues to grow and grow and grow. Yes, you have a personal relationship with God. You are spirit, having a relationship with spirit, and no one is left out. No one. So, are you spending your time locking up your spirit behind bars, behind mental bars? Right? Are we keeping it bound with the decisions we make? We're speaking of love, but if we hold anything or anyone, including ourselves, in contempt, in judgment, then we're going to receive that back. Are we even willing to spend time to break the monotony of habits that we have, like over binge watching TV, or just all the escapisms that we have, instead of just slowing your roll, so to speak? Being on summer break, last week I started my daily prayer for me to get outside of me. I just want to serve. Like, I don't want to think about my thoughts, my this, my that. In other words, I trust life, God, to give me what I needed, what I could use best that day. And it has been wonderful. And one of the biggest things was for me to just do that. just be at peace. I haven't, again, we don't realize sometimes how anxious we can be until we take the time to not be. And then we talk about communing with that presence. Lastly, the last principle I want to share is we believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thoughts and acts upon it. This is terminology to say when we say there is one God, one mind. So there's only one consciousness happening. The consciousness that you and I use is that very God mind. It's all there. And so as we think, like it or not, planned or unplanned, aware or unaware, every thought in essence is creative. Now, if we just have a fancying thought, whether it's non-life affirming, like I'm stupid, this will never help, this will never happen, or life affirming, I can do this, I have hope that my life is getting better, I can heal myself. It is the one that we put the most amount of focus in that in essence creates, and when we talk about the law of God, it's instant, but are we willing to receive? Now, most of us kind of live out of order. What do I mean by that? We live by this, the steps of we're going to do something so that we can have something, and then we're going to be or feel some way. So it's a do, have, and be. But divine creation does not work that way. Divine creation says, first you must be. So I'm thinking of something, I'm feeling of something. Then you can do something, and then you will have something. Now, I will say, overall, there are times when we could just not have to do anything. But when I talk about doing, it doesn't always mean something go out to make it happen. But if I say I'm at peace, and then my doing this is to meditate about peace, then that's a doing. Okay. It doesn't mean I have to go out and do random acts of kindness or feed the homeless, which is fine. It's all in alignment. We could do that too, but I just don't want us to get caught up in feeling like we have to go do something. We will be guided to do that perfect thing. So what I'm saying is, if we really want to expand our lives, if you want to become spiritually enlightened, then we should act like the minions. Because if you know anything about minions, they're always saying, be, do, be, do. So, and then we will have little Joe humor there for you. So this is, again, why it's never too late, because there's only one life happening, one mind, one idea of life happening, and we're in it now. We're in it now. Now, I'm going to quote a beautiful being that I had lunch with the other day. You know her. Her name is Reverend Rachel Dilling. And we were talking about this. And she said, there's just so much evidence that, I actually have a slide. I wanted to quote you. There's so much evidence that living in peace in your body changes the world outside of you. So what she's sharing is, again, this idea that not just thinking peace, but getting to the point where we're living it inside, recognizing it must happen outside. Now, these can happen. Practicing this doesn't have to be these huge events. So what I want to share with you is a quick one. I was at Costco the other day. And again, I've been praying on being at peace and just serving. I'm in line at Costco. And it wasn't too busy, but the lines were somewhat long. And I'm there, and this woman comes in from the side, like she's just going to angle in and cut in front of me. Usually, I would get upset. And in my mind, I'm like, who does she think she is? And blah, blah, blah. And no, I said to myself, I'm at peace. If she wants to cut, let her cut. I'm on summer vacation. It is what it is. I just let it be. In less than a minute, I heard a sir come over here. We're opening this new line because I was technically still the last one in that line. They invited me over to that line. Now, I wasn't looking for that. I wasn't being like, I'm going to be kind and I want to receive kindness right away. But that's how fast shifts can happen. Now, that's a small shift. But what does that do? That feeds my experience to say, okay, let's amp it up now. Let's amp it up. The greater, it's just proof that the more I shift my consciousness to more godly thoughts, the more godliness experiences will show up in my life. And so let's revisit Juneteenth one more time. Okay. Yes, it was a historical event. But more than that, it was I'm going to use the word major shift and manifestation of consciousness. Again, there was a large mass of people thinking about one thing, that they were free. In their minds, they were experiencing the freedom in spite of their current circumstances. And by creative law, the law of mind says, what you put into me, I will deliver back to you and more. And so it had to be expressed. Now, Abraham Lincoln and the executive branch of the United States at the time, they were the physical human channels of that. But again, there had to be a channel. The divine figures it out perfectly. And so I can tell you of other firsthand, well, I gotta say secondhand, because I heard it from somebody else who led them, but led meditations, for example, during the Gulf War to pray for peace, that literally showed how certain major war events that were supposed to happen that evening were canceled. There are no coincidences. And so I continue to hear all the craziness of life in the US, and no matter what side you're on, I'm going to ask you to let it go and collectively just focus on what we want. We want a country that is at peace, not just in action, but we see it coming from our leaders who are also in peace. And therefore, us being in peace, you being in peace, me and we, okay, we can focus on a lot of the things. And this doesn't mean that we stop atrocities that are happening. But let us not give power to the outside more than the power that's happening through. Everything is a projection of consciousness. Everything. So heal ourselves and we heal the world. That doesn't mean just necessarily to sit in a room and do nothing. But let's work on being that first, being our proud self in living color. Here I am. This is the best I have today, and I'm willing to get better. Start today. Practice unity. Practice inclusivity. Okay. And as Marina mentioned, it took 2 years for that Emancipation Proclamation to truly be recognized by all in the Confederate States. And it's taken even more years to give full freedom and equality to all people living in our country. But there's more that are not receiving that. Okay. So let's stop putting off, being and doing what we know is best for ourselves, because it's never too late to start. It's never too late. Okay. Now, I want to end with Happy Father's Day. I should have a slide. There we go. It is Father's Day. And for Mother's Day, we always do a nice honoring and little celebration. So I want to invite everybody to our next in-person talk next weekend, where we will do a little something for our fathers, because being in person is where it's at for me. And the energy is so different. But I will honor you in the best way that I can now, which is my words. I created a little something I want to read for you. And it says, in the spirit of our teaching and philosophy, we joyfully celebrate Father's Day for honoring the divine qualities expressed through fatherhood, strength, wisdom, guidance, and unconditional love. Now, there are fathers and those who are also that serve in fathering roles. We celebrate all of you, and we recognize you as the sacred channels through which spirit expresses itself. That is who you are. And today we recognize as well the Father principle. We went over a number of principles, but the Father principle that is within all of us, that inner presence that supports, that directs, that inspires. And as we give thanks, we affirm. We affirm that the divine intelligence is moving through each one of us, each act of kindness, each act of loving support that continues to shape our world and make it a place where all are loved as divine beings that we are. So again, please join us next week where we'll have a little ceremony in person. And let us end, well, and happy Father's Day to each and every one of you. It is as a father, it has been the most challenging role and responsibility, and probably the most rewarding as well in my life. So, and thank you to my lovely wife who allowed me to experience this. And so our affirmation for the week: it's never too late to live my authentic life, and it's never too soon to take the first step. Great affirmation. So we will close in prayer. And what I am just knowing that everything that needed to be said is said. It can only be said through my unique aspect, my unique mental equivalent of the divine. And I am grateful for that. I am grateful for this community, this spiritual community in St. George, each and every member, each and every guest that has ever walked through the doors, whether they returned or not. And I am grateful for all those that will continue to come and assist us in growing and becoming the community that we envision, that we hold that mental equivalent of, that is a beacon of love and joy in our own community as well as the community at large. I am grateful and honoring all fathers and those who have the fathering roles, and recognizing their unique pathway of expressing the divine, and knowing that all the support that is ever needed is provided perfectly in the highest and the best way. I am grateful for the freedom that we experience and celebrate that. And I, in my mind, hold every being as free in all ways, that God cannot be bound, not in truth. And so I declare that all are free, and I do my part in looking inside and seeing where I am holding myself or another bound in thought and or deed. And I choose to release that in this moment with the support, with no shame, with no guilt, but with only love and celebration that I have grown to a greater knowing and understanding of divine love in my life. And I affirm this is happening for each and every person that is listening and not listening. This is what heals our world, to recognize the love that already is. And please affirm truth with me by saying, and so it is.
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
I am honored that you quote me. Thank you.
Our lunches are powerful.
Yeah, well, yes, they are. I've read the book Stained Glass Spirit and My Grandmother's Hands, and My Grandmother's Hands is all about that healing and that going inside and looking at our trauma and getting through it to create peace and love in the world. So you were so on point. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so what's next? We have the creation of our center, the keeping us moving forward, the coming together. So we say thank you to the speaker and Reverend Joe. And next slide. There we go. So through abundance, through tithing, through gifting, through investing in our center, we're able to grow, do more, be more, have more, to create this idea of what we want CSL St. George to become. So you can do that through Zelle on our newsletter. You can give online through PayPal. Got the cute little QR code sitting right there that you can just click on or do what you do with QR codes. Or you can mail it to our PO box. Either way, all three ways is wonderfully, majorly important for us to do what we do as a community, because we tithe ourselves. So the more we receive as a community, the more tithing we can do as CSL St. George. So we have an affirmation. So whatever it is that you're giving today, whether it's love, heart, financial support, whatever it is, go ahead and hold it to your heart and say with me, I am overflowing with love and abundance. I give from the source of my being, which is rich and unlimited. With joy and excitement, I share from this overflow. In return, the universe gives back to me in infinite ways, channels, and means. And so it is. So it is. So a couple of announcements. Next in person, of course, is next week on June 22nd. I hope to see you there, because I will be there. And we will be talking about we're still together. So that should be an interesting talk. If you are needing a little support, you need prayer, we are always available for that. CSL St. George or CSLSG.org, under the About page, you're able to see all of the practitioners. So you can choose a practitioner, reach out. So if you need affirmation about how wonderful life is, or you are looking for support to get through a stuck period, that's what we're here for. And so please reach out, because we want to be there to be of service. We have our Zoom talk today, so we're going to be a little bit late because it's now 12:02, but we will be there. Also, if you have anything that you want to talk to Reverend Joe about, whether it's comments, clarifications, things that you think could be done better, that are being done wonderfully, suggestions to make that happen, he wants to hear from you. So please, please reach out to him. He's here for our community to make it a better, stronger, more successful space. Upcoming services, we've got obviously next week, June 1st, come see me and the rest of us that are going to be there. We're going to be talking about We're Still Together on June 29th. It's our 5th Sunday of the month. So our practitioners come together to present us with a different perspective on what we've talked about all month. So join them the following week on June 29th. And now for our closing affirmation. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it, just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank
You life.
Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Bye.
Zoom, zoom.
Thank you.